planet of love, truth, and beauty. Those wonderful qualities of life that go hand in hand. Now, currently, Venus is having an adventure. In astrology, that is called a retrograde, but that scares the shit out of so many that I'm just going to say that Venus is having an adventure, a little bit like a retrieval, where she's gathering the pieces of herself from all the forgotten stories and places from the universe of ourselves, in our minds, in our bodies, in our memories, and in our hearts that have been forgotten and that have been unheard in some way. And during this adventure that she's doing, she has a very special promise. The promise is that a truth that is not beautiful and doesn't feel magnificent, wonderful, blissful, filled with love, is not ready yet. Love and truth are one and the same energy. A truth that is not based on love will not last. I know it sounds pretty radical, but so it is. That is the world that I would like to live in, and that is the world that I truly believe in. And how is that possible then? Well, if we look at life very honestly, the things that go forward, all the processes that go forward, are actually based on those qualities that are constructive in our beings and in our comprehension, in our understanding. That which does not include sense, that is based on compassion, will not last. Shit. I had to cut down the video because I thought, like, I'm running out, I'm losing the subject where what I was supposed to be speaking of. But then I checked the videos. No, I was just down on the point. I just thought that I was saying something that wasn't true, but yeah, it was. Things, events, relationships that aren't based on love will not last. The things that aren't based on love, compassion, cooperative attitude and basis will not last. They don't have a lasting place in truth. I mean, ants don't build colonies by warring against each other, but they build their colonies by being in cooperative attitude with each other. Relationships that aren't based on love will eventually end. If people appreciate themselves enough to leave relationships that will not give them emotional gratification that will not fulfill them emotionally. That's why relationships end. Where there is no love, there is no continuance. That's why wars lead to death and love leads to happily ever after. Now, isn't that cool? I thought that, isn't that like too obvious? That's like even too naive to even say out loud, but I think that those are exactly the things that just go unnoticed because they're like way too obvious. Life's pretty simple like that. Okay, let's get back to Venus and her adventure throughout the universe. And now it's just symbolically speaking. Difficult situations tend to tear our souls apart. And they have a very special meaning. They have a very special promise behind those painful events. Now, true beauty and love does not really shine as beautifully as it can without the contrast. And so when life does that, when life throws you up in the wall, throws all of your pieces onto the wall, just to see what kind of a mosaic piece of art will be arranged out of the pieces that it just threw on the wall. Life has a very special promise behind those rearrangements. The purpose is not to tease you. The purpose is to create from the pieces of you, to create something even more beautiful that was there ever before. And that is the promise of life. That is the promise of Venus. That is the promise of truth. That your life, the depth of your beauty, the depth and the resilience and the glory of your soul will only increase its depth when you go through painful situations where life is shaking you up, where life is rearranging your beliefs, where life is causing you to expand by first making you really uncomfortable, by possibly throwing the pieces of you up in the wall, and sometimes throwing the pieces of you all around the universe. And when that happens, be sure that when the pieces of you come back, I know it hurts sometimes when you're just torn down. Be sure that when the pieces of you come back, from their trips that they have made. They have only gained more brilliance, beauty, strength, divinity, wisdom, knowledge, humbleness, and maturity. And mystery of the soul. Expansion. And the last, but most definitely not the least, more the creative magnificence of love. That when the pieces that have been doing the trip, when they will be clicked inside of your soul again, clicked within you, you will rise more beautifully than ever before, and you will shine more gloriously and more beautifully than ever before. And that is the promise of life. You can be torn apart. You can be thrown all over the universe. You can forget for some moments. You can cry, rage, and bleed. You can burn down into ashes, but never ever you can be destroyed completely. Your diamond will only gain the marvelous qualities that it was meant to gain during those tribulative trips that you were meant to endure. Because life will never give you more than you can take. If you're still on the planet, if you're still alive, you can and you will encompass and shine through all the possible experiences that life will walk you through. And if there would be something that would not feel quite right, something that still bleeds, something that doesn't feel good, truthful, something that is not beautiful, something that's unjust, the promise of life, the promise of Venus, in God's kingdom is that it just isn't ready yet. And even greater love is on its way to encompass that experience that is somehow still making your heart linger in its pain and in its disappointment. A greater love is on its way to encompass everything all the pieces of you that in some manner are in need of more clarity, seeing in truth, which is love, because love and truth are the same energy. That is the promise of life. So, now that Venus is having her adventure, be very, very ready to receive a lot of miraculous blessings and pieces of your soul that are always coming back. That are always coming back to Mamacita, because that is the promise of life. Things can be lost, but never ever they can be lost forever. Even in nature and in life, everything is always seeking sense and order. And so it is that the order of love is always and forever seeking to flow more abundantly in our lives. And may it be that our hearts will be open fearlessly to receive that flow of unconditional love, that miracle power. To recreate whatever needs to be recreated. To recreate our lives, our stories, and our pasts, futures, in the present moment. In the most beautiful and divine way. May we always have eyes to see through that miracle, through the miracle of love. And may we be open to receive ever new perspectives and heights of the magnificent creation